Good evening. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Welcome, welcome. So you're all discussing the wind. We've all got wind. And wind often around here means power cuts. So if I suddenly go, it's nothing personal. I love you all. And if we do get chopped down by the lack of electricity, I'll try and get us back up and running. And I think the power's already dodgy a little bit, which may mean that sync is not what we'd love it to be. So it could be that when my mouth moves, I don't speak until a little bit later. But, we'll do what we can. We'll make music, we'll talk nonsense, and we'll hopefully summon our angel of Essex, Helen Watson. That's all we can do. We just do our best. Let's play a song. And take it from there. Okay. This is going way back when to lovely team I had with John Ellis and Errol Roberts and Stevie Williams on the bass. Maybe even Marky Creswell might be on this as well. I'll know by the end. yeah. John Ellis, lovely Hammond organ solo there. The real thing, the beast, the big old B3 or whatever it was. B for beast, Hammond organ. They were so heavy. Well, they still are, but I don't have to lift them anymore. And Stevie Williams on the bass, Errol Roberts, and as suspected, Mr. Mark Craswell on the guitar. Lovely stuff. So what's been happening? So much has been happening. We're in the process of improving the tech, but I don't want to tempt fate tonight when the wind is blowing and howling. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Joe's been really, really busy. But if you go into his domain, it's unbelievable. It's so neat. And there's no sight of a cable anywhere. His cable management is second to none. So there's a little bit of work still to do here. It's a bit spaghetti junction down there, but much improved. You've been spending your kind donations on tripods and things like that. So on that note, thank you very much, Steve. And big thanks to John Farmer, to Turkish Ali, Viv and Danny up there in Easington, Stella, Richard and Anne. Oh, thank you very much. I'll be drinking that later. Judith and David and James and Sue and more people. And thank you very much for that. Headline news down our way. Stichi's back home. Local hero. He had us all so worried. 8 days in Scunthorpe General. He's still a bit shaky. He's like a new slimline shadow version of his former self. But we're all being really nice to him. Till he's 100% better, then he's going to get so much stick. He had us so worried he did. Well, I think without further ado, just in case, I'm so worried that we're going to get cut off. If we do, stay around, because if it's sometimes they're momentarily, they're like that, and I'll be able to get back online. But, if not, see you tomorrow. So I'm really, really hoping that the electricity will last at least until Helen Watson has joined us. All right, I need a different sax. It's been another chaotic day when Helen and I were rehearsing. She was actually sitting the right way up in her kitchen in Burnham on Crouch. But on my screen, she was lying on her back with her legs in the air, which looked kind of endearing, but it's not what we want. Not decorum. So I'm really hoping that I'm going to find a right way up Helen. I'm going to give you really beautiful song that we do live. It's an old jazz standard. No idea who wrote this. But is that all right with you, Helen? We'll do Ain't Necessarily So. Are you there? Hey!
Hey, Snakey. You're in your shed. I'm in my kitchen. But really, we could be in the same room, couldn't we? Oh, well, it ain't necessarily so. Ain't necessarily so. The things that you liable to read in the Bible, well, it ain't necessarily so. Little David was small, but oh my. Little David was small, but oh my. You went for big Goliath who lay down and died. Little David was small, but oh my. To get into heaven, snap for a 7, live clean and don't have no faults. I take that gospel whenever it's possible. but with a little grain of salt. Jonah, he lived in a whale. Jonah, he lived in a whale, where he made his home in that fish's abdomen. Of Jonah, he lived in a whale. For 7, just live clean and don't have no fault. I get that gospel whenever it's possible, but with a little grain of salt. I'm preaching this sermon to show. I'm preaching the sermon to show that it ain't necessarily no, it ain't necessarily no, it ain't necessarily so, so and so, so and so, so and so.
Oh, thank you, Helen. She's the best. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. So we're going to maybe rehearse up a couple more, and then I'd love to have a Helen Watson evening. That's the evil plan. Bit of a chat and a whole bunch of songs. Hello, everybody. Good start to the weekend, I hope. Hi, Mike. Hi, Helen. Hi, Ron, down there in Devon. Hi, Andrea. 7 doors up the high street. Hi, Nick, Jeff, David. Oh, cast of thousands. No, thank you, Clear. And thank you, Helen. And check Helen Watson out. Google her. Helen Watson, Daphne's Flight. Turn the microphones off. Burden of Paradise. We love working together, and as all artists do in this world of juggling hats and plates, sometimes she's off doing her own thing with Daphne's Flight, and I'm doing things with whoever, and then sometimes we're together as a duo or a trio, but it's always absolutely wonderful. Phil's in the house. Sue Chan's in the house. Joe Preston's in the house. Sue Usher's in the house. Annie Lane has never missed one, I don't think. Annie down there in Devon. Absolutely wonderful. Actually, you know, it's the same for everybody, I know, but it's been a bad week for work getting trashed. Some of you will be feeling the same kind of pain, I know. And, you keep smiling. Glass is always a little bit full. But, 90% of our work, me and Helen and my buddy boys and girls, is playing live. That's what we love. That's what we live for. That's what gets us up in the morning. And so this week, I had 3 more cancellations. And now they're going as far as October, some of them. Although there are still bookings in place, aren't there, Mr. Philudal, in July, which we're somehow hoping we can do, and August. So it's a real waiting game. And then I haven't told Helen this, so I hope maybe she's logged off. But there's another cancellation came in, taking it up to 4, at about 4:30, and that was for the Cottingham Folk Festival. Listen, I know it's not the Albert Hall, it's not Carnegie Hall, but it's a lovely gig, and now it's gone. So, oh dear. My people will email your people later, Helen, about that. And this one even started, really sorry, it's another one of those emails. So, thank you, Paul. So I wrote a haiku about it. Being philosophical and wanting to work the pain out with poetry. Because every time a cancellation comes in, I take it out my diary, I take it off the website, and then I have to email all the other musicians. So this is a haiku about me dealing with the cancellations. Okay. I type so slowly, yet more shows biting the dust. My heart is heavy. But then, like the great Basho, the absolute grand master of haiku writing, I revised it. He's not around anymore, but he used to revise constantly. So I revised it. I made it a bit more cheerful. So I'll shut up in a minute, honestly. I type so slowly, sharing news of cancelled shows, but this show goes on. This show, it'll go on. It'll go on until I have to get in the car and pack the PA and the lights and drive to Nuffield or Duffield or Driffield or Cottingham or Glasgow. But meanwhile, this is what we can do. We can stay in touch like this and get Helen on and get Chris Bannister on and get Gareth Moulton on, and maybe soon some of us will be allowed to meet up and we could actually get people on in person before we're allowed to all have medium-sized gatherings. But, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's a waiting game. A waiting game. This show goes on. Are you there? Yes, you're there. Oh. I think Helen just found out about her cancelled Cottingham gig. It hurts. The soul is not destroyed. The soul soldiers on. There's another haiku there somewhere. Yeah, a Helen night. That would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, we're all in the shed. We're all in Snakey's shed. Making merry, making hay while the virus rages. It doesn't stop us, does it? So another song. Let's have another tune. What can I play for you? I've got my tenor on, so maybe a beautiful jazz ballad. This one is called Body and Soul. I think Harold Arlen wrote this before any of us were born, even me. And it's a great one to not show off, but to explore the smokier low end of the tenor sax. Tenor sax, I'm always up the top. I'm always upstairs. I love all that sort of soul-y singing out, but just every now and again to go downstairs to the bottom, the dusty end as we call it, right down there. Body and soul. Body and Soul. Yeah, it's called a subtone when you play really low and you use lots of vibrato and it's kind of whispery and smoky. I love that, and I just don't get to do it very often. So, what a song. Now, I never used to watch Annika Rice and her challenges, but I sort of heard about them. And I must have caught, she used to just dash around challenging herself or getting challenged by the audience, didn't she? Did she? Yeah. And I'm always up for not always, I'm up for a challenge, and some of you challenge me from time to time. This is a weekend with at least 2 challenges in it. So here's the first one. My buddy Phil Udall up there in Stokesley. You've heard me mentioning him before, I think. He was the guy who gave me the turntable, the record deck, which has cheered me up in lockdown, no end. And the dusty end is great. I agree with you, Richard. So, just a few years ago, in 1975, he wrote a saxophone quartet, although he's actually a bass player. But obviously a man of great taste, decided to write for saxophones. And over the years in our association, we've had a couple of bashes at this quartet in a live situation with the Tyne Horns, the ones and only, the fabulous players of the Northeast, the 2 Collins and the Tom and the Louise. But so Phil kind of challenged me to, having heard me do the Why Do Fools Fall in Love and the Just My Imagination, where I use multi-snaky voices. In fact, Joe titled when I did Why Do Fools Fall in Love, he titled the folder The 5 Fools. It's quite apt, really. So Phil wondered if I could pull off a saxophone quartet, or namely his saxophone quartet. So I've had a go. Bear with me, be kind, be gentle. So with a bit of luck, if I strap the right sax on. This will be the world premiere of the 4 Fools playing Gypsy Moth. Now your challenge, I'm saying all this, assuming it might work. Your challenge is to spot which one is playing live and which ones were pre-recorded at about 5:15. No, it was later. I was working against the clock. I missed my drink with Alex. That normally starts the weekend at 6 o'clock. So, I'm babbling nervously, wondering if it's going to work. Aha, we did it. That was for you, Mr. Phil Udall, and for you, Mrs. Kath Udall. All clear. Fantastic. Oh, and that was called The Gypsy Moth. The Four Fools playing the gypsy. That baritone player's loud, isn't he? The old baritone. I tried something else today, but it didn't come off. I wanted to do just another duet, just with one fool, one snaky, with me playing the tenor earlier, the bari earlier on, and then playing the tenor now. But I just ran out of time, so maybe tomorrow, or maybe another night. But yeah, challenge me, but not too much. Oh, well. We got away with it, Phil. Hello, Yak. Hello, Pauline. I bet it's lovely up there at the moment. Threll Cal. Oh, yeah. Great. We love Barry. Good old Barry. Yeah, that pushed me to the limits of human endurance, pulling that off. But got there. Living dangerously with Snakey in his shed. It's been a good day for food. Okonomiyaki. No, I'm not being rude. Have you heard of it? Okonomiyaki. It's a speciality in Japan, in the Kansai region, but particularly in the Hiroshima region. It existed before the war, but it really kind of took off after World War II and after the bombing, when the place was absolutely smashed and trashed, and it was like needs must, and cook with what you can get hold of. And okonomiyaki literally translates as use whatever you like, grilled or cooked. It's as simple as that. And it's kind of always a wheat-based batter, loads of cabbage, and then from there is often bean sprouts and whatever you want to chuck in. It's like vegetables, fish, meat. Oh, it's delicious. Oishi desu. And I'm going to try and show you a photograph of our lunch, because Sally made it for lunch. And it was quite ironic, because I was beavering away, stitching all these things together down the shed, and she sent me a message that she'd rustled up some lunch. And so she tried to type in okonomiyaki, thinking that as we have been to Japan, it might be recognised and come out right. But it came out as economy yucky, which is kind of very, very topical, isn't it? So I was pleased about that. It was a nice typo. But if I do the screen share thing that Joe's taught me to do, then there's a couple of the garden. Because the garden is so beautiful this week. The irises are coming out, as you can see. But then, where I was going to show you that tomorrow now. Oh yeah, I made Joe a delicious little snack there of broccoli and cashew nuts, and he said that he wasn't really a fan of it. And there's the okonomiyaki. And look, it's so delicious that Sally'd already eaten half before I got my camera out. And it has a special sauce, which is kind of it's all a big part of it. It's a bit secret. I don't know what else I put on here. No, that's it. Okay, so we'll go back to where we were. But honestly, it's delicious, and if you get yourselves out there, you can get it all over Japan, but it varies quite a bit. Osaka okonomiyaki is different from Hiroshima okonomiyaki, and you'll find that all over Japan, that there are delicacies which the regions are very proud of. You know, our ramen is the best in Japan. You will hear that quite often, which is good. They're all trying to outdo each other. Oh, it really is good. So, by the late or mid 50s, late 50s, it had become real popular amongst all classes. No longer just people who were a little bit desperate to get hold of something to eat. And it's kind of seen as a symbol of the local people's resilience and vitality now. It's soul food for Hiroshima people. And it's a great city, one of my favorite Japanese cities. And it's kind of ironic. It's And Japanese people have corroborated this. It's not just me being, I hope, not me being culturally stupid. But it has a real peaceful feel about it. And we go quite often touring with the Moss Man out there. And as you'd imagine, there's a peace park and a big peace museum with some spine-chilling and horrific stuff in there, as you'd imagine. But I always go. Very inspiring. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I recommend Hiroshima when you get out there, if we ever travel again. Another tune? Let me see what you're saying first, just in case I'm missing any vital questions. Usually by this time you're just talking amongst yourselves and got me in the background. 4 snakes for the price of 1, and more baritone, please, Naomi. Yep, okay. With a bit of luck, I might get it together tomorrow. Oh yeah, I see. This is good as well. If you see that in the chat, Clear has said economy Aki. Is it relatively cheap? It is relatively cheap. It's pretty cheap. A Japanese savoury pancake. Oh, you've been Googling? Yeah, that's basically what it is. But so nice. Thank you, Sally. Oishikata desu. It was delicious. I just promised you another tune, didn't I? And then I got... Please play The Dream by David Sanborn. There's no E on the end of Sanborn, John. Sorry. I didn't used to be a teacher either. I don't think there's a D in it either. Or maybe there... I don't know. Ignore me. What am I blathering on about? It doesn't matter how you spell things, does it? Phew. Phil thought we did all right there. That's a relief. Oh, different. Did I have a different sling on? I had a different shirt on. Yeah. Great stuff. Okay, what about... Well, I've got the alto slung around my neck. What about Flamingo? I haven't played that for a few weeks. Bit of lovely old swingy jazz. And this one is off this album. Is it the right way up? Yeah. Classic Sax Solos 2. You know a little bit about our Classic Sax Solos project with Gareth Moulton, sometimes Chris Bannister. Spoilt for choice there with 2 amazing singers. And Simon Goulding, and used to be Birchie before he kind of stepped back a bit, and now Stuart Collingwood or Chris Taylor does it. And the amazing Brian Hargreaves on the drums. Wonderful cast. And that's a project which we roll out live and will again when the dust settles. And so here's a track off Classic Sax Solos 2. And I always forget to mention the CDs, because on a gig, I mean a live gig, there'd be a merchandise table just there, and I'd be going, right, we'll have a break now. Get your money out, come and buy a CD. But of course we're kind of virtual, aren't we? So we don't get the plugging opportunities. But you know, it's just the same. The merchandising table has turned into the website. Really, they're all available there. They sound even better in lockdown. So I need a few lines like that. You know, live you say, Christmas is coming, and they fit in a stocking, and things like that. And you say, don't worry, madam, if you've already got it. Get one for a friend. And we can do that. We can deliver them to other people with your message. And a little snaky card. Yeah, I'm on a roll. I've learned how to promote on live streams. Shut up, Snaky, and play a tune. That's me. That's a chat message from me to myself. Right, I need to get primed here because I'm straight in. Flamingo. Oh. The boys are still talking about it. Went back to the original studio sessions and created that backing track. It's quite eerie when you hear the musicians talking when you go back to the album sessions. They're always polite, of course. Ah dear. So I wonder what you've all been doing. Some of you will have been gardening, no doubt. You're very welcome, Ron, and Celia, and Mary, and Brenda, and Sue. Midge, you're out there. And what a lovely community we've got. What a great team. What a fantastic audience you are, you guys. What's John Morton about? Sorry, mate, there's a sax in it. Yes, mate, honestly. That's a fantastic tune, David Sanborn, The Dream. Oh, that'd be a great Sunday night one. I wonder if I could recreate that somehow. So beautiful. I love Dave Sanborn. He was one of my absolute heroes when I was a young pup, trying to learn which end to blow down. Yep, Earl Bostick, the Flamingo. Well, he didn't write it, but that's the version that I loved and kind of based our version on. Oh, I see. And Rick Davis is getting in with a gag. Earl Bostick tune sort of sticks in your mind, doesn't it? Oh, mate. Leave the gags to me. Actually, I don't do gags, do I really? Just talk nonsense. And that's it, really. Gardening in the wind. Why did I start talking about gardening? Oh, yeah, I was wondering what you'd been doing. And I did show you a picture of our gorgeous irises. Oh, man, so fantastic. And finally, I heard my first frog splash of the year. It's one of my favourite sounds when the frogs leap into the pond, but they just haven't been doing it. But I'm so easily pleased. I heard that splash, that plop, and I went, oh, fantastic. Froggies, I love you. One more tune, I think, and then I'll bid you goodbye. And I will very, very much hope to have the great pleasure of your company at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Spread the word. Subscribe. That's what you have to say if you're a YouTuber, which I kind of am now. Subscribe, like, thumbs up, spread the word. Give me money if you want. That's absolutely not an essential part of it. What else do I have to say? Because I'm a YouTuber. Snakey, shut up and play a tune. That's my chat message to me. I'm going to finish with the tiddler. Curved soprano saxophone. My sopranos are curved, not straight, but most players play a straight one. Made by Yanagisawa. I don't suppose you can see that, but there's Yanagisawa and a bit of a snaky design there, and I've absolutely no idea if you can see this. The kanji. I'll show you some photographs of my saxes one day. That'll clear the house. Because there's such a beautiful instrument. Mind you, I'm a bit biased, and I've got some pictures from the factory. You know, that would really send you to sleep. But I love my Yanni saxes. So here's one called Stepping Out. This is from way back when, from the Snake Bites CD, before most of you had even been thought of. And wrote and recorded this with the wonderful Will Mowat. Currently safely and happily locked down in the Alps. Not a bad place to be. And oh yeah, you cycled in the wind. That must have been tough. Half of it would have been tough anyway. Well, we got radishes, and you liked my azalea that I showed you. Yeah. Yep, straight saxes. It is sort of a weird position that I prefer to have them dangling around my neck. Anyway, This one's called Stepping Out. Summary song, Stepping Out. And I'll see you before I go, and I hope to see you guys at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. They all stopped. I wanted to play more. Oh, guys. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your company. Everything's great. Starchy's back. The sun is shining. We're still making music. Still finding reasons to be cheerful. I hope you're getting more good news than bad. And still remembering to be super careful. That locked door's been opened just a crack, hasn't it? So go steady, as we say around here. Look after each other. Keep applauding those wonderful care workers, frontline staff, and delivery drivers, and post people, and shopkeepers. Thank you, everybody. So, virtual handshake on the way out. Virtual hugs. Have a look at the virtual merchandise desk. Had a lovely evening. Thank you, guys. It's been absolutely fantastic. See you tomorrow.